What's up, guys? Coach Vassar. Thank you for joining me with OTF Audio Daily Beats. As always, if you're new, I appreciate you tuning in, listening to me talk about these workouts. If you find value in them, information is in the description to support me. We're breaking down Wednesday, May 7th. This will also repeat on Tuesday, May 27th. We're going to see an ESP 30-30 day across the board. As always, we'll talk about the key concept of the 2G, also break down the 3G afterwards. We'll get into it here. So for the treads today, you have one 23-minute, 15-second tread block, trained in 3 different ways: endurance, strength, power. Today's highlight is the middle section where we all get to be power walkers. For the rower, we have a 300-meter row, 3 different ways. Start with endurance, control with strength, and then increase intensity for power. On the floor, we have 3 different back-to-backs, different emphasis. Like the treads and rowers, endurance, strength, power. Benches are going to be out for today, and I will mention both sides of the room, one long block. So there's a lot when it comes to the setup on the weight floor. So just be mindful of that during that 2-minute setup. Okay. Looking at the treads first. 3 parts to this. Part 1 is endurance, part 2 is strength, part 3 is power. We'll start with a 3-minute push and a 1-minute base. We will repeat that a second time, and the goal here is to maintain or increase the push intensity. 3 minutes is, of course, much longer than what we typically do. So conservative push is a great place to be and maintain. Power walkers 4% or greater, joggers and runners probably closer to that 1 over their base speed, or even less than 1 over their base, and then maintain it. Bikes and striders, 2 or 3 gears over base is a great place to start. That way they have that opportunity to increase if they want to. After the second 1-minute base, we move right into part 2, which is 3 rounds of a 2-minute power walk and a 1-minute base. So power walkers, of course, they're power walking still. Joggers and runners for this 2-minute hill climb, they're going to power walk. And the goal is to maintain or increase the power walk intensity. So generally that means increase the incline every round. For a lot of people who typically jog or run and they're not used to power walking, it is obviously very different than what they're used to. They tend to, what I've noticed with at least my members who are not familiar with doing it and they've never had to be forced to power walk, they hear 3.5 to 4.5 miles per hour and they start at 3.5 miles an hour. Don't know why. Quicker pace is so helpful. So encourage people to start maybe closer to 4 or even 4.2 or higher. Because once again, when it comes to power walking, the upper body should look very similar to their run-in mechanics. So elbows are bent and they're pumping their arms. If they're able to walk with their arms down, they most likely don't run like that. So get them to increase their speed, bigger steps, and really pump and drive. Okay. The benefits of power walking, of course, as we know, lower impact, which is great for the body, but also it trains the posterior chain differently than what we see on runners and joggers. The other benefit is the mental strength that is required to do this uphill work. My plan of attack for this block when it comes to explaining it to members is, at some point, you're going to come across a hill you're not going to be able to run up. We're going to have to power walk up. So you might as well practice now rather than be defeated. Every round, they will go back to their regular base. So joggers and runners, what we'll see happen is during that 2-minute power walk, heart rate will trend up. They might not get into orange that first time, and that's fine. But when they drop the incline and they kick up their speed back to their normal base speed, for that few brief 10, 15 seconds, they'll actually be at a little bit of an incline base climb until it gets to flat road. So that's going to kick up that heart rate, which then kind of carries over into that next round where now their heart rate's elevated. That next power walk, they'll start a little bit higher on that incline, or on the heart rate, which means their heart rate will climb up a little bit faster. If they can, encourage them to go 1% higher or add some speed as well. We'll see that a total of 3 times. Okay. After that final flat road base, we go right into power, which jumps right into a 1-minute all out. And then we finally have their first walk recovery. Before I go into the power section, if people are on the bike and strider, the idea here for that 2-minute power walk and 1-minute base is to treat it like a push and base as well. So still keep them at that push gear, 3 to 6 over their base, and then go back to their normal base gear afterwards. So What they could also do is think about, hey, what did you do for your 3-minute push? Can you hold one gear higher than that for this 2-minute effort? Because once again, it is shorter. So once we get to the power section, keep in mind from the very beginning of the block through the first all out, that's 18 minutes before the first walk recovery, and it's only 45 seconds. They're going to repeat that 1 minute all out and 45 second 3 more times. So here, goal is to maintain or increase the all out intensity. Because they've just done 18 minutes of pretty tough work, the likelihood of them increasing that all out is on the lower end unless they were holding back and being conservative, which there's nothing wrong with that. But at least set expectations up for success. 4 all outs, 45 seconds of rest each time. Each all out is 1 minute. Maintain or improve. There's a 2G tread side. When we look at the weight floor, just like the treads, it's one long block, 3 parts. Each part has a 1 row attempt and then a back-to-back for 2 rounds. Then they go to the next section. So endurance, 300-meter push row just 1 time to set people up for success. Stroke rate may be on a little bit higher end. I would say maybe 24 to 26 is a good place to be. Leg drive closer to like 6, 7 out of 10. Almost like an extended warm-up for some of these people who started on the rowers, but we should definitely see that heart rate climb up, high green for that first group. For the people who started on the treads and now they're on the rower, definitely in the green, maybe even tapping into the orange by the end of that row. The back-to-back for the endurance focus is going to be higher rep count, 12 to 16. So play around with that rep range, lightweight up to moderate, 2-handed single dumbbell squat, paired up with the bench bird dog low row. For that one, it is 12 to 16 per side. So very high rep count, a lot of core stabilization, a lot of shoulder stabilization on that bench. So should be fatigued. They should need that rest and recovery before they repeat those 2 movements. Once they've completed the second round of the 2 movements, we move to the strength focus. It's still a 300-meter push row, but now we slow down on the return, 22 to 24 on that stroke rate. Encourage them to increase leg drive, aim for like 7, 8 out of 10 on that power output from the lower body. Very smooth water on the drive back, and then move forward as if you're going through peanut butter, molasses, glue, whatever kind of analogy works well for them, but really be patient on that return. Okay, time frame wise, they're going to finish around within a few seconds of what they did for their endurance row, but the key difference is they completed it in fewer strokes, so they're being stronger per stroke versus using momentum. Their back-to-back is going to be a single arm split stance deadlift, so just 1 dumbbell, that's the side foot that will step back into a staggered stance, 6 to 10 per side, and that's going to be paired up with a single arm chest press. Key thing for that single arm chest press, because it's 1 dumbbell, it's helpful to have their feet wider to give them a wider foundational base to help with balance so they don't feel like they're going to tip off to the side. 6 to 10 reps here, so aim for moderate weight that first round, maybe 8 to 10. Encourage them to go heavier or maintain their weight and try to go up in reps. Like if they got 8 reps with that weight, could they get 9 next time? Okay, 2 rounds. Then we go to power. 300-meter push all out row. Stroke rate probably on that higher end, maybe 28 to 32 on that stroke rate. Leg drive, because it's a higher stroke rate, we could pull back a little bit on that leg drive, at least for the first half, maybe 6 or 7 out of 10. But once they hit that 150 mark, try to increase that power output 9 out of 10 on the leg drive, or even 10 out of 10. So that way they should feel like they need to catch their breath when they finish that row. Definitely orange, maybe even tap in a little bit into that high orange by the end of the row. Then for their back-to-back with power, explosive tempo, we have a single arm, single leg, lateral step up. So 1 foot's gonna be on the bench, 1 foot's on the ground. The foot that's on the ground, that's the side that has the dumbbell. We're gonna explode up, slowly lower down. The foot stays on the bench. We'll have 4 to 8 on one side. They can just turn around, boom, there's the other side. That pairs up with a single arm neutral grip push press, so 1 dumbbell, dip, drive, explode up. Similar to the day before with that movement pattern, but of course there's no rotation and they are only doing 1 arm versus alternating. Okay, just like before, they'll do 2 rounds. When they move into the bonus, it's their choice. They choose whichever part was their favorite, and they will repeat those 2 exercises. So in total, there's only 3 row attempts, and that's it. Once they're done with 3 row attempts, wipe it down, and then they go into their choice of that bonus. The finisher will be the single arm or the single leg step up with power, but with body weight, and they'll do 30 seconds per side during the tread's final 1 minute all out. Now, when we look at the 3G, it's going to be set up very similar. We're going to see 1 long block on the treads, 1 long block on the rower, 1 long block on the weight floor. Treads and weight floor are the same idea of 3 parts within that 1 block. So on the treads, we're going to start with a 2.5 minute push and a 45 base, 2 rounds. The strength portion, also 2 rounds, as opposed to 3 from the 2G, 90-second power walk and a 45-second base, 2 rounds. The all out will be 3 rounds, 45 all out, 45 walk recovery. Okay. So looking at this, same idea, very long section of work before that first walk recovery. They should really need it. Drop that speed. As far as like setup goes, this is very similar to the 2G, of course, because the efforts are shorter, the recovery is shorter. So same thing, conservative choices would be very beneficial so they can at least maintain. If it's too conservative, well, then they have that opportunity to increase, because just like before, maintain or increase each push or work effort in each part. Now the rower is going to be a little bit different. We're going to see a circuit with a dumbbell exercise, and then they row. They're going to start at an 800 meter base row, and then every round we're working on increasing the intensity as we drop the row distance by 200 meters. Now the movement is a single arm balance contralateral bicep curl. For the setup on this one, whichever leg is lifted up, that's the side the weight is on. So if I'm standing on my right leg, my left leg is up, my left arm has the weight as I'm doing my 8 reps, then the other side. They'll start with the dumbbell movement, then they do their 800 meter base row. With a longer row like this one, I am very much a fan of monitoring split time and using that as their gauge for intensity, because that will be less variable than the wattage. Okay, so 800 meter base row. If it's a group that started with the rower, then hey, what was your base during the warm-up? Let's keep it there. So stroke rate probably just like in the warm-up, somewhere between 18 to 24, totally fine. I encourage people to go maybe a little about 22 to 24 for that 800 meter row. 600 meter maybe base push, so drop their split time by about 1 to 3 seconds. 400 meter, it's going to be a push row. Drop it another 1 to 3 seconds, and it should feel uncomfortable. It will take less than half the time of their 800 meter row because they've increased the intensity, and of course it's half the distance, but they're rowing at a lower split time, which means they'll finish quicker. The final 200 meters should be like a push all out or an all out effort row, in all honesty. Once they finish all 4 rounds, they can wipe down their dumbbell, put it back, they'll row until the finisher, which is a 30-second all out. Weight floor, it's exactly like the 2G, 3 parts, just of course without the rowing. So 2 rounds of the endurance, back to back, 2 rounds of the strength, 2 rounds of the power. And then the finisher is only 15 seconds per side with that single leg lateral step up with power. It's just like the dumbbell variation, just without the dumbbells. Okay, and they're gonna drive and explode up as they pop up off the bench. That's gonna be that Wednesday, May 7th, Tuesday, the 27th. Any feedback, let me know. Otherwise, coach it down.